see you all, and I hope that everyone has been keeping well. Thank you so much for joining this session and making the time to be here. My name is Martin, and I come from Poland. I've been living in London for over 6 years now, and I'm currently finishing my master's degree in innovation management and entrepreneurship. I also work at Middlesex University as a student learning assistant. So just to make sure, this session is on the subject of business, so I hope everyone is here for that. This session is aimed at giving you an example overview of what it is like to study a business subject at a university level and what you could expect from this kind of experience. And if you choose this path, I will have some tips for how to make the most out of it. And hopefully you will also take this opportunity to begin speculating what kind of results you want to create in your life and how the university journey could potentially support that. So if everyone's ready, let's get started. First, I have a really short activity for you in form of a quiz, which will hopefully give you some basic information about the university and answer some questions that you might have. So please go to the link that you see on the screen and use the code, and I'll give you a few minutes to complete that activity and continue with the presentation afterwards. So, first question is, what does studying a full-time business program at the university mean? And you've got 4 answers. There's option for a whole week of classes, only a few classes, lots of classes and no independent work, and about 10 to 15 hours of lectures across 2-4 days, and the rest is independent and flexible. Okay, hope everyone got it. Cool. Yeah, the correct answer is 10 to 15 hours of lectures across 4 days, and the rest is independent and flexible. How to... Next question. There are a lot of exams on business courses. True, you need to memorize everything. False, there are not that many exams and most assignments are practical. That should be easy and quick. Yeah, correctly. There are not that many exams, or there are actually non-exams in some courses, and most assignments are practical, whether it's individual or a group work. Let's move on to the next question, and that's the last one. What kind of support is available to students throughout the university journey? There's only tutor support, not much support. You need to work independently and figure it out. Various support is readily available for all aspects of studying, and there is some support, but it's difficult to find. I feel like here there are some common misconceptions about this kind of question. Yeah, we have answers. There's various support and it's ready available for all aspects of studying. And I'll be talking a little bit more about that in later slides. So let's continue with the presentation. To give you a little bit more context for what I'm about to share, I'm going to tell you some things about me. As I said, I come from Poland, and back there, I actually wasn't very interested in school. I was training handball, and I was so in love with it that I thought that this is all I need in life. And nonetheless, I ended up at the university after high school, but I dropped out after one semester. And the reason for that was I didn't really like my program, and I felt that I was there out of expectation. And after a few months after I dropped out, I got an opportunity to come to London. And this was really a hard decision to make, but I was also really excited, and I literally packed myself, and the next week here I was. And I worked for a year. I didn't just come for the study. So I was working, and after that time, I began to realize that I want to do something interesting with my life, and I want to gain some really cool experience. And this is how I ended up at the university. Now, I don't have any formal business experience. I've been mostly working in retail, hospitality, while studying. And I also got involved with over 20 different projects. And I also worked at the university, which I will share more about a bit later. I have some volunteering experience with a few charities. And on my journey, I've built plenty of skills. And the most prominent, that are most important personally for me, are public speaking, which I used to be just terrified of. And now I really like it. A similar goes for networking. And one of the main reasons for me going to university was events management experience. And I did quite a bit of that too. And in terms of my personality, I consider myself curious and creative. And I feel like I've really rediscovered those traits while studying at university. So let's move on to a little bit more specific experience of studying business. First of all, my purpose was to gain concrete and practical experience in variety of different projects. And I also wanted to understand business at a deeper level from the theoretical point of view. And that's pretty much mostly what I got out of the journey. And from my experience, knowing what you want to achieve is really the key. Without that, it's very easy to fall into this trap of having university as a burden or something that you have to do. And generally, studying a business subject kind of is oriented around learning about various components of organizations, strategies and structures and cultures. And this will definitely differ in terms of the specific program. So for example, some of them might be more focused on finance, and some of them might be more focused on entrepreneurship. And at this point, it's very important for me to share that you get to know the course very well before going. And I encourage you to speak to program leaders who have a great idea of what the course is about. And you can tell them, what do you want to get out of this? And then see if this is actually the right course for you. In terms of my qualifications, I went through the standard route. I did my high school exams back in Poland, which I scored relatively well. And then I got some help from an agency which supported my application process. And this is how I got in. Now, before starting though, I was experiencing a lot of worry, and I was feeling uncertain about this new environment. Mostly that was relating to language, writing essays, and that there's so many people around, which was really scary to me, at least. But in reality, I can tell you that it became much more enjoyable. than I expected. University is demanding, but it can be fun. And to me, it's like a playground that allows you for exploring yourself and the world around you. And that's why I feel it's really important that you be clear about the results that you want, and you put in the work. Really be hungry to achieve what you want, and don't just start because you have to or because you should, because it just might be confusing, and in the end it's your life. And on top of that, there's plenty of support in place to help you achieve your goals. And I encourage you to seek that support, build relationships with lecturers, with staff and fellow students. And on my way to university, I actually became part of this support system. I was working as a student learning assistant, which was really rewarding. I was working with lecturers, and I was able to support students on their learning journey. And part of this is actually doing the presentation right now. We also have well-being support. We have something called Learning Enhancement Team, which specializes in academic writing and supporting your assignments. And there's many, many more support. Now, because of the current situation, all the study is now likely to be conducted online, but all the support that I've just listed is available to you via online channels as well. In terms of assignments, there's really a mixture of things. You will definitely have some individual written work like essays and reports, which will test your critical skills. There will be presentations, which you can practice your public speaking skills on. And at least in my case, in the business course, there was quite a bit of group work, which looked like working on collaborative projects or assignments. For example, writing a marketing plan for a product, or actually developing a new product. And then the assignment would be about reporting on that learning and how the group work actually went. So all of this will be topped up with seminars and workshops where you have chance to discuss various issues and have interactive tasks. For example, parts of the assignments and things like that. So all this is usually finished with some sort of major project. It can be a dissertation, which is more sort of research-based, or something practical. And again, I want to stress here that various courses will have different structures. So knowing which course you're getting yourself into is really important. And this way you will know how this course will actually finish and what you can get out of this. Moving on, as I mentioned before, my aim was to gain practical experience. And this is really where most of my growth and achievements took place. So from business competitions, volunteering for music festivals, organizing events, to even running in the Students' Union elections, I had so much fun that really there was no time for boredom for me. And some of the highlights you can see on the picture there was definitely in terms of public speaking, like hosting events. On the music festival that I mentioned, I got to meet Jamal Edwards, which some of you may know, and various many others. And obviously, when you're doing lots of different things and you're developing yourselves, there are challenges and obstacles. And the way I overcame my biggest obstacles and challenges was by realizing that everything is a skill. And the sooner you understand that, the better it is for you. Because how I got comfortable with public speaking? Well, first, by acknowledging that I have a lack of this kind of skill, then choosing to learn it, and then taking various actions to actually support that learning. So I went for workshops, I practiced a lot, I meditated to calm my mind even, and I role modeled other speakers. And this is where my curiosity and creativity just skyrocketed. because the same principle applies to pretty much everything, from running the business, playing instruments, and even cooking. The only questions are, what do you want and how much are you willing to get comfortable to get those results? So at the moment, I'm finishing my master's dissertation and I'm creating a YouTube channel about creativity, personal development, and psychology, which are the topics that I'm most passionate about. And I want to turn this into a small business at some point. In the short-term future, I want to get involved with projects and jobs that relate to health and well-being or ecology. And my long-term dream is to create a retreat center where people can come in and reconnect with nature, with themselves, contemplate what they really want to do with their lives, and get away from the busyness of life, which is sometimes so true to living in London. I want to tell you also about a project that let me develop all those skills that I was just talking about. And it happened in like the most rewarding way I could possibly imagine. Back in 2017, I signed up for a challenge with Dig Deep Charity to raise £3,000 and climbed Mount Kilimanjaro. And Dig Deep, just for your information, does projects in Kenya for clean water sanitation, and it provides training for communities as well. And so in the process of raising that amount of money, I had to organize a couple of different events. And this included like a music event, which my friends performed at. And I had to develop negotiation skills because people were donating money for me and I sort of had to give something in exchange. And sometimes it was really challenging even to ask. So I really built that skill of negotiation and crowdfunding. And all of this really boosted my confidence because it showed me that I can deliver such a big project. And all of this took, around 10 months, which was happening at the time of my final year. And it really tested my time management. At the end, I recorded the whole trip and made a movie about it and built further skills in video editing. And so from the pictures, it might look like I look normal there and really happy, but trust me, this was the most challenging thing I've done to reach the summit after 10 months of fundraising. And this is really my story. Finally, I want to give you a little recipe for achieving what you want. First of all, create that vision for the results that you want to achieve. And it can be about anything, about your grades, about your experience, or it can be about your whole life. You remember that you're not just coming to university to get a degree. You will have a chance to build skills that will impact your entire life. And be specific and honest with yourself. Some of you might want to be realistic or ask someone for what's realistic for you. But how can you really know? Only by trying, you can experience what's true for you. And trust me, what you think is possible is usually only a fraction of what's actually possible. And that's not a cliche. I'm talking from my experience, from observation and history. So think bigger and get yourself energized by the results you actually want to create. Once you have that, make a formal choice with yourself. This is where your commitment is born, and it'll provide you with energy to get you from where you are to where you want to be. And then it's time for taking action, really. This is where you explore, you learn, you fail, you get frustrated, you acquire new skills, and you have successes as well. And remember to hold your vision in your mind all this time. This is also where you might adjust your direction or even change your direction entirely. And as in my case, you will definitely experience some failures or obstacles. But really, failure is just a feedback mechanism for acknowledging where you are in relation to where you want to be. And in society, we sometimes have it as a bad thing. So treat it differently and don't listen to people who say otherwise, especially if it's you telling that to yourself. Then you can have fun and see where it takes you and be open to possibilities. You will find a way to get where you want to be. And whether it takes you 2 years or 20 years, who really cares? Like, you will learn plenty of stuff on the way. So remember, stay curious, and this will get you where you want to be. Thank you so much for listening, for what I had to share. Now I'm really happy to answer your questions. Can I stop now?
I'm just going to ask one question then, Martin.
Yes.
So you said you came to London. So you went to university, was it previously in Poland?
Yes.
Yes. Okay. And then you came to London. And then what was kind of the deciding factor for you to choose business? And what was your first degree that you did in? Was it just business management?
First degree, it was actually music business.
Oh, all right.
What was deciding factor? The factor was, as I said, I wanted to do something exciting and gain new experience, but it was just relating to my interests.
All right.
So I had a particular interest in music business in this case, and I looked through all the courses, like through the whole list, and maybe I left 2 or 3 at the end, and then it took me a while. I did it by the process of just seeing like what the course is about and whether this would be something I really like, I really love to do. And so in the end, I decided on that. It took me a while, and I'm happy with the choice and that it took me a while. But it was relating to my interests and what I would see myself doing in the future with that kind of experience.
And why did you choose Middlesex University?
Oh, that was very logistical thing for me. I was actually living in Hendon at that time, and the only university that was very near was Middlesex, and I found the course that I really like at Middlesex. So, logistically, I don't know, some people would probably say the universe was working with me or something, but I was here, and strategically it just kind of happened that I was living next to the university. For half a year, I actually didn't know that there's a university in Hendon. I was just working, and only later someone told me, and so the choice was easy. I found the course at this university, and everything went sweet from there.
Okay, thank you.